Evening, friends. Ash here, WAT News. I wanted to cover a few articles that I saw and maybe do a rant. Developing Nevada judge does not rule on obvious voter fraud case. USPS is preventing witnesses from testifying. This is by Jim Hoft out of Gateway Pundit. There was a hearing in Carson City, Nevada on Thursday afternoon on the massive fraud in Nevada in the 2020 presidential elections. Hundreds of Trump supporters were outside the courts building rallying for their president. The Trump campaign believes they have a strong case in Nevada. Democrats used similar tactics they used in other battleground states to flood the system with fake ballots and steal the election from President Trump. The Trump campaign asserts that 15,000 votes came from vacant lot addresses or vacant lots, 19,000 votes from non-voting Nevadans, 42,000 double votes, 1,500 dead voters. In a recent development, the U.S. Postal Service is preventing witnesses from testifying on the massive voter fraud they witnessed as postal employees. This is disgusting behavior and should be condemned by every American. One such development, the National Pulse reported that one such development is that the United States Postal Service is preventing witnesses and whistleblowers from testifying concerning wide-scale orders for workers to deliver ballots to nearly 8,000 undeliverable addresses. The ballots were later collected, turned in, and presumably counted. There are multiple key witnesses who are whistleblowers with matching independent stories supporting these issues. Who USPS is trying to obstruct from testifying, the Nevada GOP notes. Republican Party also has evidence that there were over 100,000 cases of illegal ballots in Nevada. Courtney Holland was covering the hearing today on Twitter. And Ben Berkwam was there. Live from Carson City. Nevada voter fraud hearing news. Trump campaign lawyer Jesse Bernal just said that the campaign has evidence filed under seal that all those stats we just said, 8,000 fake addresses, 15,000 commercial addresses or vacant lots, 1,500 dead voters, 19,000 non-Nevadans voted. Wow. Mail-in voting was rammed through less than 90 days before November the 3rd. After primary, they said they cleaned the voter rolls, yet thousands of inactive voters still voted in general. So see how that plays out. That's plenty of votes to overturn the election. You could see all these states where they have, just the dead people alone in some of these states could almost overturn it. Or that there's more people voting than there are people in the precinct, or, we're hearing so much stuff now. It's just insane. Was this the other thing? Yeah, Trump, I wanted to cover this Georgia video. Trump legal team Georgia video footage depicts poll workers with suitcases filled with ballots. This was the video of the alleged area in Georgia where there was a leak and workers were cleared out of the room. So I want to see this video, but this looks like it's the president's speech as well, which we already covered. So not to fast forward to the president, but let's see where the video will probably come up. The video pic said subsequently appears to depict 4 people who stay behind and continue counting and tabulating ballots well into the night, unobserved, unsupervised, until about 1 in the morning. At one point, she alleged the footage apparently depicts workers pulling suitcases of ballots. Okay, so I'll go find this for us real quick because I know where it is. And I wanted to cover this creepy immunization card too by Bill Gates. That's going to sort of be my ending rant. Here, where's Bill Barr? We got your voter fraud AG Bill Barr right here. It's on video and they attempted to steal Georgia. How about a few arrests? Yeah, there's a picture of the video where they're clearing the room and where's the actual video? Okay, here it is. See if we could see what we could see. It's just amazing. The United States Postal Service is not allowing whistleblowers to testify. Who is instructing these people to do that? Okay, here's the video, so let's see what we can see.
We're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to
There's
stop
another
counting,
suitcase
is the person who
pulled
put
out.
the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Wow.
Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red.
Yeah,
So
here.
he just pulled one out.
This guy is dragging it. And there's more.
So
Who's-
what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots?
And who's
And why are they
supervising
only
them?
counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
Sure. That could be 20, 30,000 votes if it's 3 machines. And who knows how many hours they were there alone? That's unbelievable. That's direct evidence, video evidence now. So, if it was a flood in there, then why were you clearing the place out, right? Right, so I wanted to rant on about something for a second. Let me just pull this article back up. It's the one with Creepy Bill on it. By the way, Newsom threatens conservative SoCal with strict... They're doing the same in New York, by the way, guys. About 3 weeks ago, they started saying, oh, we're getting a second wave, and now they're saying the numbers are jumping. They're higher, the cases. And so I think that's what's going to happen in New York. Creepy Immunization Action Coalition calls for COVID ID cards for Americans to carry in their wallet. Jim Hoft, December the 3rd. When Democrats demanded that American voters should not have to show an ID card to vote, it was the beginning of the end of a free and fair vote. All countries demand an ID card to vote, not the U.S., the cradle of modern-day democracy. Full or partially democratic countries that require ID to register to vote or cast a ballot on election day in all districts. It's like a lot of countries here, except the United States. So it's about time we get some kind of voter ID, guys. Policies like that led to the all-out assault on our election system this year, where Democrats used any and all means necessary to steal the election for the feeble basement candidate. They don't care. They think it's their right. But now the government is proposing vaccine cards to carry in your wallet. That way you will know when it's time to get your next dose. COVID-19 Vax ID, good. Voter ID, bad. I had a picture of it on CNN, of course. Here it is. CNN showing it right to you. Here it is. There's your COVID-19 vaccination card. And if not, you can get the Moderna they want you to get, which is on your hand, which is a tattoo, sort of. Uses little teeth to make marks in your hand and deliver the vaccine. As well as the chip, whatever that is, the nanodot tech. So, yeah, they're pumping this out in Europe right now, right? They want you having this mandatory. I was watching Cuomo yesterday, and he said to get back to the normal, quote unquote, 75 to 85% of the state has to have this vaccine, one of these vaccines, or else there's no going back. No, there is no normal. Normal's gone. This is normal for them. This is normal. Now go think back 4 years and imagine if Hillary somehow got in. What would you be looking at now? What would have happened? What do you think? I think that we would have been in some kind of war right away, and then they would have released this COVID right around the same time that they crashed the stock market down, and everybody's money was gone, right? And then they were going to unleash this thing. That's my thought. And they were going to unleash it on you when you couldn't afford for it to happen, right? Because you lost everything. all your stocks are gone, your pension's fucked, and maybe if you got some gold and silver, you're all right, or you put your money in some other things. But a lot of those teachers' pension funds and all those big pension funds are all loaded up with stocks, and they knew that. So 2008 was just one bubble that they burst. They create the bubble on purpose, and then they burst it when they want to burst it. And the big players who know when it's coming make a double fortune on the way down and then back on the way back up. I remember when I'll tell you a quick story. I used to play the stock market years ago, and I was like a penny stock guy, though. I liked stocks under $10 or penny stocks only, right? I didn't invest in any blue chips, which is what my grandfather taught me to do. And he was right, by the way. But anyway, that's a whole other story, right? I like to play, I always like to gamble a little bit, so I like pennies. So this is many years ago, before, you had cell phones and stuff, right? So I used to have a beeper. And I bought like a big position in this penny stock, and I was working at the time, so I couldn't be like, it's not like you have your cell phone in your pocket, you could check your stocks. You'd have to go call your broker up, or like do something like that, like call the automated line and check it, or you could check it. It wasn't that easy, let's just say it like that, right? It wasn't like you had a computer in your pocket. I had a pager, so I had a friend that was like wasn't working, and he would stay home on his computer that he had at home and watch the stock market and stuff. I told him, listen, keep an eye on that penny for me, all right? I'm busy with work, I can't watch it. So one day my beeper goes off 911. I call my friend back real quick. What's going on? He says, you got to sell that penny and win over $1. It's going up big, man. You got to dump out. So I rush to a phone booth, I call my broker, I say, sell out, sell. So by the time he does all that shit, it's not like today you can just click a button, right? By the time he gets the whole thing sold, it's already paring back down because people have jumped out and taken the profit, and I missed my mark, but I made a few bucks. But that's how you had to operate back then. It wasn't, instant information like today. Even in the 90s it was like that. My first cell phone that I ever had, I got a $300 bill for the month, and I threw it away. So, anyway, getting back to this nightmare. Yeah, so, what's going to happen with this COVID, right? Are people going to, accept this? They're trying to put their plan in, even with Trump in. That's what they're doing. Trump winning in 2016 made them have to push their plan up, and now it's not looking so good, right? Everyone's like, wait a minute, what? This thing has a 98% survival rate for most people, and you're forcing me to take this vaccine that I don't want to take, that I don't know exactly what's inside of it, and that's what the Moderna thing was. I mean, it's mod RNA, MODERNA. It's modifying your RNA or your DNA or both. That's okay. I don't want my DNA modified, right? Why would you want to modify someone's DNA? Well, then you're not human anymore, are you? You're some other thing. You're other. And if you're a commoditized buddy asset already, and I change your DNA, then you're never going to get your humanity back, right? That's my take on why they're doing this. And on top of that, it's just because they want a chip inside your body. That's really the thing. They want to be inside everyone's body and have a chip in there. And then whatever, maybe that chip reacts to 5G or it doesn't, I don't know. Or it reacts to some certain sensory vibratory levels or some other thing, right? But the problem is we don't know what's in it. And if there is some kind of sensor in it that's giving my information out of my body, then it can also receive signals into my body, and I don't want that, right? Most people don't. Most people don't want invasive technology inside their body, right? It's bad enough that I got a cell phone that is radiating massive amounts of radiation right next to my brain, and I'm talking on it, right? It's bad enough that I have a cell phone and things in my home that are making me sick, right? Like your refrigerator. I mean, people don't realize this, but the refrigerator runs on a compressor motor, and that, the levels that it puts out is just not healthy, right? And so, if you're living near power lines, 5G towers, all this shit, and then on top of it, you're getting in your house too, it's just like, how do you escape it, right? You're getting bombarded all the time with stuff. So that's okay. I don't want something inside my body that can like pick up on those signals possibly and make it worse for me, right? I don't need that right now. So I think that was part of this agenda. And the other part of it was the Agenda 21 thing, which was forcing the people to go, out of the rural areas and the country and into the cities or closer to them so that they could put them inside this grid where, now we know who you are, we can track you, we can control your movement, and if you don't get this card, hey, sorry, like you can't work now and you might not be able to make a living anymore and travel freely. But wait a minute, I'm a sovereign human being. I have a right to move freely about the earth, right? Regardless of all this crap you're talking about. So that's what this comes into, man. And that's what I think. This is a way to steal your sovereignty from you and steal your freedom of movement, your freedom to pursue a life of, life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness, right? Exactly. That's what this is all about. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And how am I going to pursue my happiness if you are restricting my travel and putting a chip into my body or some kind of thing that I don't need? For a virus that's come around that has a 98% survival rate for people up to 50 years old, right? Or higher. In other words, if you don't have a comorbidity and you're healthy and you have a healthy immune system, you should be okay, right? The statistics prove that. And so what's happening in places like New York and in Cali and places like that is they're trying to force this because they don't want the economy to look better. They want you locked in your house. And now, of course, it's, hey, you can't do Christmas, right? So what everybody needs to do is say, like, F you to these people and do your holiday like everyone did with Thanksgiving, because I heard a lot of people did. Now in New York and these places, the people are beat down, but they're not like forcing you yet to, but now in New York they're saying, well, it's small gatherings now. Yeah, our contact tracing has shown that it's small gatherings now. It wasn't small gatherings before. It was large gatherings, but we were allowing people to riot and protest in large gatherings, and there was no spread of sickness. Remember, what was it? The motorcycle, Sturgis. How many people got sick from Sturgis? Did anyone ever check that? I don't think it was many. Was it a massive super spreader event that like was there 100,000 more cases from that? I don't think so. Because if there were, you would have heard about it on every news station all day long, right? Oh, Sturgis super spreader. I mean, some people may have got sick, but if you put 100,000 people together, someone's going to get a cold, right? Someone might catch something, yeah. And you might catch something worse if you, do the wrong thing, right? So, always take care of yourself and your business, right? Make sure, I won't give you any public service announcements, guys. You're old enough to know. But, this is scary, and they already have this set up. I mean, how do you have this set up already? That's quick. So, we'll see how we go, guys. I'm not too worried about it. I think the majority of people are going to say no to this. They're going to say no to the agenda of this. They're going to say no to being tracked and having your movement stopped. And, who are you to tell people they can't move freely about? Who are you to come into cities and towns and lock people in their homes? You don't have a right to do that. These people have overstepped their bounds, and they need to be held to account for it. And you could see it slipping away, the power, and the people, and even in New York and these other places, they're not buying it anymore. I see people in Cali coming out strong. There's people in New York starting to protest and go to Cuomo's house and in these people's homes now. This won't stand. That's my take on it. That's my opinion, and you're welcome to yours. I think the majority of people will not be, fear-mongered into doing this, right, by the government and forced into doing this. And, at some point, the people are going to stand up and say enough is enough, right? You've had us locked up in our homes for 7 months with this thing. There's not a lot of people dying. I mean, I saw 69 people died in New York State. Now, and if you tracked that could be from anything, though, right? I mean, it's a big state. There's a lot of people in it. 69 people in a week or 2 weeks, whatever. Okay, maybe some of them died of the flu. Maybe some of them had COVID, but some of them died from something else too. I don't trust the data. They're not sharing the data here in New York, and that's the problem. You're just not sharing the data, so how do I know what you're telling me is true? I don't. You could tell me any number. How can I prove it? And that's what someone said in the press conference yesterday. Why won't you give us this data? Where are you getting it from? And they said, well, we're getting it from our contact tracing program. Okay. So I'm just supposed to believe you on that. All right. You know, you got the whole state on lockdown, though, right? And you're saying, oh, well, we're one of the lowest rates in the whole country. Well, if we're one of the lowest rates in the whole country, why is the whole state locked down? Anyway, guys, with that, I just wanted to touch base on that, show you guys that card. CNN showing it right to you. And I hope you're enjoying the CNN tapes I've been sharing. I'm going to share all the tapes. We did part 2. Maybe he's going to come out with more now. And we'll see how it plays out. Just stay frosty, you know. Stay in your center and we're going to be good. Things are going to work out. The movie's almost over, you know. And they got it all already. Remember, NSA has everything. They got everything you ever sent. Emails, every text you ever sent. Every text these people ever sent. So whoever was setting this up with the post office and all that, they got you. They got it all. And they just let you fall right into the trap. They knew you were going to scam on it, and they let you do it. And now they're going to let the whole world see what they did. Because how do you get the post office to help to overthrow the president in an election? That's what you're starting to see. The post office is involved now. Okay? So go dwell on that for a minute and think about it for a second. Because that's a federal agency that's now participating in a possible coup, right? Think about that. I never heard of that happening before. Anyway, friends, I wish you well, love and peace. This is Ash signing off for now. See you soon.